You can't pursue greatness with mental haze. That's the reality that most people don't want to see. You see folks desire success. They desire to win. They desire peace. But they're attempting to construct all of that with a mind full of chaos, a mind that's scattered. You can't win like this. You can't be powerful and disorganized simultaneously. Clarity is power. When your mind is clear, when your thoughts are in order, you move in a different way. You make decisions confidently. You don't hedge every step. You know where you're going and why you're going there. Too many people are waking up every day with no mental clarity. They're responding to life rather than designing it. From the moment they wake up, they're distracted. Phone in hand, social media scrolling, thoughts racing. And then they are bewildered as to why they are anxious, why they are stuck, why they are unable to move forward, because the mind is filled up. It's filled with noise, pressure, fears, doubts, expectations, regrets of the past, worries of the future. But none of that gives you clarity. None of that gives you power. You've got to know how to stop and ask yourself, what do I really want? What really matters to me? Because if you don't know that, if you don't clarify your direction, you'll live your entire life running fast in the wrong direction. Clarity creates authority in your life. You're no longer victim to distractions. You no longer chase things that are not part of your purpose. You no longer waste time and energy on what does not build you. That's the first actual step towards success, not working harder, but thinking better. Not action alone, but purposeful action. The thing is, we've learned to continue moving forward, continue pushing, continue doing more, but no one teaches us to stop and clean the mind first. No one says, hey, before you pursue that goal, sweep your mental space, cut the confusion, make your vision clear. But I'm saying it now, clarity is not a choice, it's a must. A confused mind can't win because a confused mind can't commit. It doesn't trust itself. It hesitates and overthinks. And overthinking is the killer of progress. When your mind is cloudy, even the simplest decisions become burdensome. You keep seeking everyone else's opinion. You keep questioning your gut. But when your head is clear, your confidence increases. You believe in your decisions. You know who you are and where you're going. That sort of clarity, it propels you. It calms you down. And peace, that's your true power. Success doesn't just come to the person who works hardest. It comes to the person who works smartest, the person who's tuned in mentally, who understands what to block and let in, the person who guards their concentration like it's holy, because it is. If you're attempting to create something meaningful, something that lasts, something that ignites your soul on fire, you've got to start with clarity. You've got to eliminate the mental junk and view your life as a blueprint, clear, deliberate, and bold. So the next time you're stuck, the next time you're overwhelmed, don't run faster, stop, breathe, simplify, ask yourself, what's important right now? What am I letting into my mind that's not working for me? And then release it. Cut the static. Clear the haze. Because a clear mind is a powerful mind. And when your mind is powerful, your success is inevitable. You need to sweep the garbage out of your mind. Just like you clean your room, your house, or your car, your mind needs to be cleaned out too. You wouldn't allow garbage to accumulate in your living room for years, yet you allow negative thinking, old resentment, self-doubt, and fear accumulate in your mind for years. And then you wonder why you're stagnant, why you can't concentrate, why you're repeating the same patterns. You need to eliminate the mental trash that's holding you back. Because if your mind is clogged up, you'll stumble over your own thoughts every time you try to move ahead. Mental garbage is deadly because it lurks in your thought patterns. It appears in the manner in which you speak to yourself. It's in the statements that echo, you're not good enough. You did it wrong last time. They won't give you support. Why even bother? That's not life. That's residue, remnants of pain, old coding, ancient fears. If you don't get that out of the way, you'll continue to bring it with you in every goal you pursue and every relationship you form. You can't construct a healthy future with a broken past still living in your mind. You need to release it. Consider this. When your bedroom is a mess, your vibe is altered. You feel weighed down, distracted, lack drive. But when your space is tidy and uncluttered, you breathe in a different way. You move freely. And the same thing is true in your inner life. When your mind is clear, you're lighter, you're more aware. You make wiser choices. That's why mental clarity isn't a luxury, it's essential. You've got to do the inside work daily. It doesn't happen once. You must be deliberate about what you welcome and what you must discard. Let go of things that are already in the past. That fight from last year, that error from 5 years back, that betrayal you never speak of. If you keep playing it over in your head, it's no longer a memory, it's an emotional weight. And weights hinder you. The winners in life are not necessarily the talented ones. They're the ones with the purest mindset. They don't let fear occupy space. They don't let bitterness take away their happiness. They let it go because they understand freedom is what you get when you let go of what no longer works for you. You've got to be merciless about your mental cleanliness. That is, you've got to select your thoughts like you select your clothes. You wouldn't go around in dirty, ragged clothes. You change. So why go around with dirty, ragged thoughts? Thoughts that make you weak. Thoughts that make you question yourself. Thoughts that keep you small. Those no longer have a place in your mind. Trade them in for power. Trade them for purpose. Trade them in for truth. It's not simple, but it has to be done. You might need to sit with yourself and sort some things out. You might need to cry. You might need to forgive people who never apologized. You might need to release people you love. That's what it's going to take to get your inner room clean. It's not about faking that everything's okay. It's about healing so you can move on. Because the longer you hold on to old pain, the more difficult it is to see the way ahead of you. In this life, it takes vision. So clear your head, clear it with intent, clear it with discipline, clear it with love for yourself and for the future you are creating. Don't allow the trash of the past to destroy the glory of what can be. A clear mind is a powerful mind, and a powerful mind, that's how you win, not in one aspect of your life, but in all of them. There's too much distraction in the world, and much of it has nothing to do with your calling. Everywhere you turn, someone's attempting to get your attention. Social media, the news, people with opinions about your life, your decisions, your aspirations. And if you're not watchful, that distraction becomes your life. It crowds your mind with distractions, pressure, comparison. And you find yourself running after things not because they are important to you, but because the world told you they ought to be. That's how individuals lose themselves. That's how dreams get killed, not because they weren't good enough, but because the mind became too cluttered to remain fixed on what's important. You need to know how to shut out the noise. Not everything warrants your attention. Not all voices warrant a reply. Not all invitations warrant an acceptance. If you wish to win, really win, you've got to be judicious about what you allow in, because focus is power. It's not about hard work. It's about working on the things that matter. And you can't do that if your mind is jumping back and forth between 1,000 other opinions, trends, distractions, and dramas that have nothing to do with your vision. Look, some of you are wasting hours every day on things that don't serve you. You're reaching for your phone in the morning instead of checking in with yourself. You're fretting over who liked your post, who commented who's ahead of you, while your own objectives are waiting for you to show up. You tell yourself you want success, yet your mind is full of static from things that won't even matter in a year. That's not focus, that's mental noise. True power happens when you can lock in, when you can say, this is what I'm creating, this is what I'm pursuing, and this is where I'm headed, and then shade out all of the things that aren't a part of that. You've got to be comfortable with being misunderstood. You've got to be comfortable with people believing you're quiet, distant, or too focused. Because the reality is most people are too distracted to appreciate discipline. Don't narrow your vision to fit into their den. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them scroll. You remain sealed in, you remain earthed. It is discipline to live that way. It is intention. You must wake up and choose it every morning. You must protect your mind the way you protect your house. You would not let strangers come into your home and destroy it. So why let thoughts, voices, or influences into your head that do the same? Guard your peace like it's holy, because it is. And get this, dismissing the din doesn't equate to plugging into the world. It equates to figuring out how to sift it. It equates to figuring out how to hear everything, but only respond to what propels you ahead. It equates to knowing what to tune out. You don't have to know every update, every trend, every rumor. That will not create your legacy. But focus will, stillness will, purpose will. So make room for yourself to think straight. Move away from the din. Take a moment to remain silent, to think, to breathe. Because when you do, your inner voice speaks louder. The one that is aware of what you can do. The one that reminds you of your mission. The one that keeps you anchored when the world becomes unpredictable. Success is not a product of business. It is a result of being focused. And to be purposeful, you have to be deliberate about what you put in your mind. Quiet the noise. Prioritize what is really important. And notice how quickly your life will start to shift. You can't fully step into your future if your mind is still living in the past. That's the reality no one wants to acknowledge. Too many individuals are attempting to construct something new while they still have yesterday's pain, yesterday's failures, yesterday's identities. And they wonder why it's not working, why they are stuck, why their progress is stalled. It's because you're attempting to grow with yesterday's baggage still clutched in your hands. And it doesn't work that way. You need to let go. You need to move away from the past, not because it didn't count, but because it's over. Your brain can't be clean if it's going over and over the same old things. That moment you messed up. That's someone who wronged you. That's something you didn't get. You keep going back to it like turning pages in a book that you already read. But the world isn't giving you those moments back. And the longer you stay there, the more you deny yourself the power you possess now. Because here's the thing, your past doesn't have to control you unless you allow it. But if you continue giving it room in your mind, it'll begin to define your future. Some of you are harboring pain that's been with you for years. Perhaps someone broke your trust. Perhaps you made a choice that you regret. Perhaps you were reminded you'd never be enough. And now every time you start to grow, that voice returns, that burden returns, that memory returns, and you stop yourself before you even get started. That's what the past does when it's not healed. It holds you hostage. You can't afford that anymore. Not if you're serious about success. Not if you're serious about peace. Letting go does not equal forgetting. It doesn't equal pretending it didn't happen. It means you have chosen to no longer allow it to control you. It means you've got what you needed to get out of the situation, and now you're on to the next thing. Because there is nothing there for you. The lessons, you already learned them. The pain, you already experienced it. The time, you can't have it back. So why continue to relive it? You must decide now. You remain in that cycle, rehashing the same conversations, reopening the same wounds, reliving disappointment, or you escape. You say to yourself, I deserve better than this prison in my mind. You vacate the space in your head the past has been occupying for too long, and you fill it with vision, with hope, with discipline, with fire, because your future is at stake. You see, success demands presence. It takes every one of you. You can't arrive in today with part of you still mentally lodged in yesterday. That internal battle you never resolved, that error you continue to beat yourself up over, that individual who drove away, you must let it go. You must forgive, not on their behalf, but on yours. Because as long as they reside rent free in your head, they get to dictate your peace. And no one is worthy of that level of control over you. Your awakening will not happen by excavating the history. It will happen by promising the present, by declaring, I'm finished being defined by what's already happened. I'm finished carrying things I was never supposed to carry. I'm finished letting yesterday destroy today. That's when your mind begins to clear. That's when you get your energy back. That's when your focus intensifies. And from that position of clarity, you begin moving differently. You cease second guessing. You cease hesitating. You begin creating something solid. So let go, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Let go because your future needs a version of you that's not carrying chains of the past. Let go because you're ready to live, not just survive. Clear your mind, set yourself free, and don't look back. You're not going that way. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Life hurls things at you, pressure, problems, people, pain. And before you even know it, your mind is racing. You're overwhelmed. You're anxious. You're drowning in everything you can't control. That's why it's a superpower to learn how to be still. When the world is addicted to noise and chaos, stillness is how you rise above it all. When you learn to keep your mind calm during the storm, you learn control not only of your emotions, but of your entire path. That stillness, that peace, it's where your true strength is formed. Most people don't even know how to sit in their own company. They need noise, distractions, something to fill their time all the time. What they really don't want to do is be with themselves. Because when things are quiet, you're compelled to listen to your mind. You're compelled to confront your fear, your doubt, your reality. But that's what creates clarity. That's what unleashes growth. Quiet doesn't equate to weakness. It equates to power that's contained. It means you're so centered, so fixed on who you are, that external turmoil can't disturb your inner peace. You've got to learn to breathe when it gets heavy. You've got to learn to pause before you react. Because the old you, the reactive you, the emotional you, that version is not going to take you to the next level. You don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You don't have to fight every battle. At other times, the strongest thing to do is nothing at all. At other times, it's being silent and letting your mind get back to its center. That's when your clear thinking returns. That's when you're able to hear your own voice. Stillness isn't not moving. It's moving in control. It's understanding when to say things and when to say nothing, when to move and when to hold back, when to push and when to pull away. Wisdom like that doesn't come from somewhere else. It comes from you. It comes from time with your own head. It comes from being purposeful with taking things slower so you can go faster in the right way. The world worships hustle, chaos, being busy, but business doesn't equate to progress. There are people running full speed in the wrong direction because they never stopped long enough to look at their map. They never took the time long enough to ask, am I even going the right way? Stillness provides you with that space. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing the inner work. It's about being quiet enough to hear your intuition again, to hear God, to hear your calling. You can't think clearly in a state of panic. You can't make good decisions from a state of emotional turmoil. That's why every high performer, every great leader, every successful person you look up to, at some point, they learned how to command stillness. They learned to remain calm when everyone else was losing their mind. That's why they're able to lead, create, execute at a high level. They don't allow the world to shake their foundation. And you can't either. Your future requires you to stay grounded. When everything around you is out of control, go inside, slow down, breathe. You don't have to keep up with the noise. You need to rise above it. The next level of your life will not be found through more noise. It will be found through more clarity. And clarity is found in calm. So don't turn away from stillness. Lean into it. Let it sharpen you. Let it build you. Because once your mind learns how to be still, your life, not everyone deserves access to your mind. Not everyone should have the privilege to influence your thoughts, your emotions, your energy. And the moment you realize that, your life begins to change. See, part of clearing your mind and stepping into success is learning to protect your peace. Because your energy is sacred. It powers your focus, your choices, your discipline. But too many are wasting it indiscriminately. They're allowing toxic individuals, negative dialogue, and pointless drama steal from them, derail them, and distract them. You can't do this anymore. Not if you intend to be serious about where you're headed. You need to establish boundaries, not with others, but with yourself. Boundaries that state, I'm not holding space for negativity today. Boundaries that state, I'm not allowing that person to rent space in my mind anymore. Boundaries that remind you of your value and keep you on track with your purpose. Because the truth is, if you don't guard your energy, someone else will squander it for you. And they won't even bat an eye about it. They'll dump their issues on you. They'll talk fear into your dreams. They'll call out your growth, question your decisions, and have you questioning yourself. And you'll call it being loyal or kind or understanding. But what you're actually doing is leaking energy, and you can't create a strong future from an empty tank. There are people who only show up to drain you, not to support, not to encourage, not to evolve with you, but to take your time, your peace, your joy, your focus. And if you don't know it early, they'll drain you mentally while they go on like nothing ever transpired. That's why guarding your energy isn't rude, it's imperative. It's not cold, it's smart. It doesn't indicate that you don't care about others. It means you care enough about yourself to avoid shrinking for people who only appear to make your light lesser. There will be a time in your life when height demands solitude, where development involves closing some doors and locking them behind you. Not because you're bitter, but because you're clear, because you've understood you can't carry everyone with you. You can't keep explaining yourself to people who are hell-bent on misinterpreting you. You can't keep attempting to save individuals who do not desire change. The best sometimes is to release and continue to rise. Guard your energy by being discerning about your environment, who you speak with, what you take in, what you permit entry into mental space, because all of it constructs you or deconstructs you. Consider your mind as a garden. You cannot cultivate strong, focused, purposeful thoughts if you are allowing people to come in with muddy boots. Each conversation, each interaction, each piece of content you consume, it either seeds growth or weeds out distraction. And too many individuals are attempting to cultivate their dreams in soil that's been poisoned by toxicity. It's time to clean it up. It's time to reclaim your mental environment. That doesn't mean you're solitary forever. It means you put your peace first. You surround yourself with people and things that align with your values, that ignite your purpose, that remind you of your strength. And once you begin living that way, everything shifts. Your confidence builds, your clarity strengthens, your discipline runs deep because you're no longer being pulled 100 different ways. You're centered, you're focused, you're powerful. So be bold about guarding your energy. Be unapologetic about the people you share your time and mind with. You're not being hard to get, you're being intentional, and intentional people thrive. Clear your head, protect your space, and see how quickly your life begins to mirror the strength of your peace. It'll never be your mind as a garden seeded with what you want to grow. If you just feed it fear, doubt, gossip, and negativity, then don't act surprised when your life mirrors confusion, hesitation, and lack of direction. But you feed it strength, truth, vision, and discipline, and you begin working at a whole different level. You cease to react to everything. You cease to doubt yourself. You begin moving with purpose. That's why feeding your mind like a champion is not negotiable. If you desire greatness, your thoughts must align with your intention. Many people desire success, but are feeding their minds what makes them weak. They wake up scrolling, comparing, and worrying. They fill themselves with voices that complain, criticize, or settle. Then they ask why they are stuck, why they can't get motivated, why they're exhausted before the day is even started. It's not that the dream is too large, it's that the fuel is too small. You can't construct a great life from a diet of mental garbage. What you permit to enter your mind each and every day is either propelling you ahead or dragging you down. With every inspiring thing you hear, every cutting thing you read, and every time you speak truth into your own life, you're developing mental muscle. You're equipping yourself to press on when the going gets tough, and it will get tough. Success isn't going to come handed to you because you demand it. But when your mind is trained, when your mind is disciplined and well-nourished, you don't break under stress, you rise above it. A champion doesn't only train their body, they train their mind. Because at the elite level, it's not talent, it's concentration, mental toughness, and consistency. Champions wake up with purpose. They don't merely just go through the motions. They affirm to themselves who they are and what they stand for. They recall their vision, their mission, their why. And that's not something they do once. It's daily. They nourish their mind with substance that lifts them up, with individuals who push them, and with thinking that constructs them. That's the difference between the great and the average, the mental diet. So the question is, what are you feeding your mind these days? Are you giving it what it can develop? Or are you drowning it in distractions? Are you constructing a mindset that can support success? Or are you still allowing every little thing to rattle your confidence? You need to be honest with yourself. You can't expect to think like a winner if you continue indulging things that make you feel like a victim. You can't expect to move with power when everything you allow and makes you feel you are not good enough. Train your mind the way an athlete trains their body. That is to say no to things that don't contribute to your growth. That is to trade in aimless scrolling for intentional learning. That is to listen to voices that uplift you, not ones that deplete you. That is to talk life over yourself even when you don't want to, especially when you don't want to. Because the mind doesn't get stronger by happenstance. It gets stronger by choice. Begin selecting power. Begin selecting growth. Begin selecting focus. Nourish your mind like a champion. You'll see how everything in your life starts to change. Your energy, your choices, your self-assurance, your outcomes, it's all interrelated. A strong mind creates a strong existence. Therefore, protect it, discipline it, nourish it with everything that denotes where you're headed, not where you're coming from. Because the achievement you're pursuing, it begins right here in your mind. You can't strike a target you can't see. That's why each and every day, you've got to wake up with a clear purpose. You can't meander your way through life and hope to win. Success isn't happenstance, it's deliberate. You must be clear about what you want, who you want to be, and what actions you're going to take to get there. Without direction, your energy is diffused, your aim is diluted, and your progress is sluggish. But with a focused mind, everything shifts. Your time, your routines, your discussions, everything begins to align with that aim. Folks fritter away years of their life, not because they lack promise, but because they lack purpose. They woke up and let the day determine their mood, their priorities, their attitude, and that's a hazardous way to live. When you don't dictate your agenda, you begin living by someone else's. You begin to react rather than lead. You begin to drift rather than build. But as you get on purpose, when you begin with a clear idea of what you're going after, you reclaim your mind, your energy, and your life. Having clear intentions doesn't have to be complicated. It's a matter of asking yourself, what am I building today? What's my focus? What kind of person am I committed to being today? That's how you steer your thoughts rather than allowing them to drift. That's how you condition your mind to remain lucid, concentrated, and productive. As soon as you understand what you're about, everything else gets easier to sift through. You no longer waste time on non-essentials that don't support you. You no longer entertain people who are not aligned with your journey. You no longer make excuses because your purpose is louder than your distractions. When your intentions are clear, your actions follow. You don't require motivation if you know where you're headed. You don't waste time waiting to feel like it. You rise and go because your mind understands what it's working toward. That is the distinction between the individuals who talk about achieving success and the ones who do. It has nothing to do with having extra time, extra resources, or extra talent. It's about possessing a mental blueprint. A champion's mind doesn't wake up and think about what the day is going to do. It wakes up and determines what the day is going to become. But here's the catch. You need to make your intentions every day. You don't do it once and never look back. You revisit it. You remind yourself. You write it down. You say it out loud. Because clarity dissolves if you don't guard it. The world will attempt to fog your mind every opportunity it gets with distractions, comparison, and noise. But when your intention is clear, your filter is strong. You know what to ignore. You know what to pay attention to. And that's where your power lies, determining ahead of time what type of day, what type of effort, what type of mindset you're going to bring to the table. You must realize you get your goals regardless of your mood. Your dreams do not wait for you to get in the mood. Success arrives for the disciplined, the intentional, the focused. So each morning ask yourself, what kind of life am I creating? What kind of mind must I build to create it? And then get moving with purpose. Speak on purpose. Speak on purpose. Act on purpose. Because when your intention is clear, your path is clear. And when your path is clear, your success is no longer a question. It's a decision. So stop allowing the day to control you. Stop waking up unclear, unfocused, or directionless. Regain your mental clarity by making a decision about what's most important before the world does. That's how winners think. That's how leaders move. Clear intentions make for a clear mind. And a clear mind, that's the breeding ground for genuine long-term success. Let go of control. This is one of the toughest things for most to do, particularly when they're pursuing success. We want everything to go perfectly as planned. We want the timing just right, the road smooth, and the outcome appear on our calendar. Life never works that way. And the more you attempt to shove everything into place, the more frustrated, anxious, and drained mentally you become. Grasping too hard doesn't build success. It builds tension. And tension obscures your judgment, undermines your concentration, and keeps your mind in a state of perpetual tension. If you desire a clear mind, you must learn to release what you can't control and focus on what you can. What you can manage is effort, attitude, discipline, response. That's where your true power resides. The rest, the timing, the results, the opinions, the roadblocks, that's not yours to manage. And the minute you quit micromanaging every aspect of life, your mind begins to expand. You begin to feel lighter. You begin to think more clearly because you're no longer wasting energy trying to predict or fix things that were never yours to control in the first place. We've been trained to think that if we're not stressing about it, we're not working hard enough. But that's not reality. Working smart is knowing how to distinguish what is in your hand and what is not. It is taking massive action where necessary and letting go of everything else. And that ain't weakness, that's wisdom. It's emotional intelligence, because when you release control, you create space for creativity, peace, and solutions to occur. You're not panicking, you're positioning, you're not forcing, you're flowing. And from that place, success starts to show up in unexpected ways. Take a look around. Some of the most successful individuals you're familiar with didn't make it because everything worked out just as it was supposed to. They made it because they were able to pivot. They remained stable when it all came crashing down. They had faith in the process even when they couldn't see the end game. That's mental toughness that doesn't develop from controlling everything. It develops from understanding what's most important and having faith that the rest will come together in due time. When your mind's fixated on control, it's always overthinking, always worrying, always doubting. And that makes mental fog, steals your clarity, keeps you from being present. And you need to be present because success doesn't arrive in the what ifs. It arrives in the what now. It comes from focusing on your habits, your goals, your growth, and releasing anything that doesn't support that. You're not here to direct the storm. You're here to navigate through it. You're not here to push life. You're here to flow with purpose and direction. And the instant you cease trying to clutch the wheel with fear and begin to steer by faith, your whole life starts to change. That doesn't mean you get lazy. It means you remain prepared. You remain vigilant. You come every day with control, with intention, with bravery. But you don't go crazy over things beyond your control. Let go of control so that you can reclaim your mind. Let go of the schedule you believed you needed. Let go of the people that don't serve your growth. Let go of fear that it won't all work. And grasp tightly the one thing that will always propel you forward, your attitude. That's where the win starts, not with the result, but with your mindset. Empty your mind, have faith in the process, and just keep showing up strong, because you don't have to master everything. You just have to master you. And when you do that over and over again, the success will ensue. Same again. Verify important details. When your mind is clear, your way is clear. That's the reality most people forget. They're running after success with a muddled mind, asking themselves why nothing's working, why they're lost, why they're going around in circles. It's not that the opportunity doesn't exist. It's that their vision is muddied. And when your vision is muddied, even the right way seems wrong. Even the right steps are doubtful. That's why mental clarity is not a luxury. It's the basis of everything you're attempting to create. A peaceful, concentrated, disciplined mind will carry you further than talent, connections, or even motivation, because clarity gives you direction, and direction gives you power. You can possess all the potential in the world, but if your thoughts are disorganized with doubt, fear, distractions, and overthinking, you'll continue to hold yourself back. You'll keep second guessing. You'll continue starting and stopping. But when your mind is clear, when you've removed the mental clutter, the emotional baggage, the static, you begin to perceive things in a different light. The same aspirations that originally seemed insurmountable now seem manageable. The same difficulties that once frazzled you now become chances to develop. Why? Because your mind is no longer at war with itself. It's in sync. It's concentrated. It's clear. That sort of certainty doesn't occur by chance. You design it. You construct it through discipline. You construct it by choosing each and every day what's permitted to come into your mind and what must leave. You construct it by giving yourself time to think, to sit with yourself, to reset your mind. You construct it by carving out distraction, releasing toxic energy, and nourishing your mind with purpose and truth. And the more you do that, the stronger your mindset is. It's like clearing a windshield fog. You begin to see your way again. And after you can see, you can move forward with confidence. The individuals who find their way to the top, who truly succeed, aren't necessarily the brightest or most gifted. They're the ones that will not allow mental distractions to take away their future. They're the ones that comprehend peace is not something you find later in life. Rather, it's something you guard presently. They don't wait for life to be more than adequate before getting clear. They get clear so they are able to create the life that they desire. And that's the shift. That's the attitude. You don't wait for certainty. You create it. Your future hinges on your capacity to clear the mental way in front of you. If you're still holding on to what they said, what didn't work, who walked away, or what failed, then you're moving forward with your eyes on the rearview mirror. That's why you keep stumbling. That's why you feel stuck. It's not the world that's holding you back. It's the mess in your mind. And the minute you begin cleaning that up, everything begins to open. Your ideas, your confidence, undefine your peace, undefine your power. Success doesn't arise from chaos. It doesn't arise from business or overthinking. It arises from clarity, from knowing most of what matters and putting your entire energy into that. When your mind is clear, your priorities become sharper. You stop pursuing every opportunity and begin moving with intention. You stop seeking validation and begin walking in purpose. You stop living by accident and begin living on assignment. So make the choice. Clear your head every single day. Guard your peace like it's gold, because it is. Shut the noise off. Release the burden. Get on track with your direction, because when your mind is clear, your direction is unstoppable. And when your direction is unstoppable, your success is no longer a question of if. It's only a question of when.